Personally, I think homosexuals are the most creative, intelligent, and the most social people out there. Yes, we make mistakes, but they make mistakes too. People are so busy wasting their time bashing faggots when they can be doing something a lot more positive. These are the people you have to worry about. Our whole fucking world is being run by perverted undercover fags that run around talking about how straight they are. You got big time celebrities that go around in their cars picking up transvestites, having sex with them, and then getting on national TV making fun of them. Everything you do in life is like a boomerang. When you throw it, it eventually comes back. Don't fuck with me.
I remember going downstairs and sneaking to watch shows like RuPaul's Drag Race in the middle of the night. I understood that those people were like me. The people who I saw, getting dressed in the workroom and talking about their experiences and the lives that they had went through. I understood. And that's definitely when I felt represented in what I was watching. Growing up Black and gay, it's very hard to identify with the media you consume because it's always one or the other. You never get the full experience of being Black and queer. So growing up, the only forms of representation I had when it came to being gay was shows like Shameless or shows like Glee or, Will and Grace. And for the Black side, I had shows such as Everybody Hates Chris or My Wife and Kids. But there was never that moment of I'm watching both or I saw myself. It's always I saw pieces of myself, which isn't bad, but I was always hungry for more. That's when I had been introduced to a show called Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is a very amazing show, and it was honestly a pioneer in Black queer television because no other show to this day has shown the truth the same way that Noah's Ark did. The complexities of what it means to be Black and gay in America. I always resonated with that show because it was honestly the first time I truly saw myself outside of myself. I had the luxury of experiencing such places as The Center, which was an LGBTQ plus center that focused on helping the youth of NYC. I was able to cultivate and share my own experiences with other people who had similar experiences. That way, I was able to see myself in other people physically, not just through television. But what I realized is that even that in itself is a luxury because not everybody has the opportunity to go to a place where they can meet other people such as them. Television and the internet is the only places where they would be able to see themselves. As you start growing up and growing into yourself, you start asking yourself certain questions such as, what is a lesbian? What's queer? What does gay mean?
This is a stupid question because it's not it's not a stupid question because okay. This is an important question because it means different things for different people.
My name is Jasmine.
My name is Benny.
My name is Dio. People call me Farmer Dio. Nobody calls me Farmer Dio. I call myself Farmer Dio.
Hi, my name is Trey Hill. It's a word. You know what I mean? I'm one of those people who's like, labels don't mean anything. Growing up, at first gay just meant happy, then it meant homosexual. It never at any point meant, it was always used like in the South where I'm like, oh, that's gay, but like, I was like, that's wrong, but never saw anything past that. If anything, the only word that has gained meaning to me now is queer. Just because before it was one of those words that was definitely only used as an insult growing up. And now that I'm in the community, I've, have explored and met a lot of people and seen a lot of things. And I don't know, it has a more
Encompassing
all-encompassing meaning behind it now, yeah. I'm literally sitting here in a fucking Noah beanie, Carhartt pants, and a fucking Kanye hoodie talking about what does gay mean to me. At some point, someone's gonna hear me say faggot, and they're gonna be like, yo, wait, can he, what's his?
In my, I'll say like 6 or 7 year old frame of mind, homosexuality, I also learned at the same time, because I had to look it up. I also learned that it meant happy, and so then I would like interchangeably use the word in my vocabulary. My first encounter with queerness, I'll say queerness because it was a lesbian couple, but I'm gonna say assumed lesbian couple. I was in front of my dad's shop My dad had a store in the Bronx, and we're playing in front of his store, and I'm playing, and he comes out to give us a snack, and I'm like, Dad, there's two women making out in that car. And I didn't say making out, I'm pretty sure I said kissing each other, right? There's two women kissing each other in this car. And my dad's like, okay. And so as kids are wont to do, I pried. And I was like, why are they kissing each other? And he was like, because they're lesbians. Hearing that word, like contextually, I remembered hearing the word lesbians and remembering it meant like women who liked one another. But I also remembered it used in a very derogatory fashion within my community. And so I internalized it in that exact moment. I was like, lesbians, bad, right? And so queerness was ruled out. I think that was a moment where I was just like, I could never, ever speak to this with my dad.
I used to grow up thinking that like it was bad or like, oh, like it's a sin, like you're gonna go to hell type shit. I would always have that like femme side with anything, especially with the girls. And like how me and my sister, like I would enjoy watching Barbies or Bratz or playing my Dragon Ball Z toys with her Malibu Stacy and Barbie or Sasha, you know them brat bitches, like, you know, that's how I knew I was fucking different. And like, you know, me. Like, I feel like that's every Spanish household with the stigma and not too accepting with like gay and like having this toxic masculinity as like being a macho and shit like that. Like, bro, I'll still slap the shit out of you, macho or not. Like,
That it meant two people of the same gender in a romantic or sexual relationship with each other. I just thought it was normal. So it's really not until I got to high school and I met Isaiah, and I got a different perspective of how someone else feels about gay men, and that this was my dad. So he's a really religious man. He tried to convince me that being gay was bad and it was a sin and that they would go to hell and it's not normal. And I'm like, but why is it not normal? That doesn't make sense. Like, what's the big deal? I don't understand. And he just made it all about his religion. And from then, I guess that was the real first time I understood what homophobia was.
You ask yourself at a very young age, because you have no idea what these things mean. The only thing you have is what other people tell you it means. So to have the media and television and internet videos that we consume give a certain definition to what it means to be queer or what it means to be gay, there's a better understanding, not for other people, but for self, to where you understand what it means and you can take pride in what it means. It's important for shows like Pose and Sex Education to be pushed and to be highlighted because it shows the multifacetedness of what it means to be a person of color and queer or trans, and the way that you're able to find your own happiness and navigate it. Because for too long, we've seen our stories end in violence, or there's never a full circle moment. And when we have discussions about representation, what does it mean to truly be represented? What's an important factor of it is truly the accurate portrayals, or better yet, the inaccurate portrayals that we see on television. You see how those portrayals of those characters seep into people's minds, and they actually end up believing that that's how real Black queer people are. Not to say they aren't, but that they're not more than a joke.
yes, being represented does fucking matter because it's all about fucking crackers. And a lot of nowadays, you just see more crackers, less Hispanic, and that one Black guy. And that shit's annoying.
It's something that's so interesting to see, particularly as a Black queer person. So often, opportunities that should be taken to uplift us are used as an opportunity to invisibilize or erase. That absolutely applies readily to people who are across the spectrum of queerness and across the spectrum of color. Those identities are layers of one another and they intersect. It's something I can't speak to one without speaking to the other. There are so many opportunities for folks to be able to uplift and celebrate who they are just by giving testimony and voice to their lived experience. The media our direct community as a result of the media, the folks that we look to as teachers and mentors, ignore those opportunities?
I feel like watching these shows that don't really have Black women and girls in them, you kind of just see yourself through a little white girl, you know, because that's kind of the only thing you're seeing. Because at some point I had to grow up and see what the reality is of being a Black woman. I don't think it would have helped, truthfully, because at some point you go through life experiencing these things and the discrimination and the racism and disgust from other people, and that kind of just snaps you awake. Media doesn't help with that. No, it wouldn't have helped.
The answer is always yes. Being able to see myself represented in a lot of media would have been helpful for me. The same way that you see me presenting to you on camera today, which is fully acceptable, and you're seeing me as this very cool, avant-garde, little boho chic, little bit of farmer realness. That shit was not sexy when I was a kid.
Okay, this is actually really important. I think that it is important for young queer and trans folks, kids, to see themselves in the media that they consume. But I also think it's important not to let yourself be limited to one form of representation. I think that's honestly, in the past year or so, I've been very fortunate to become very close to a lot of trans people, and they've taught me just the limitless ways that they're able to express themselves. And it sounds cheesy, but that's one of those things where once you figure out, oh, I don't have to be the skater kid, or I don't have to be the Black kid, or I don't have to be the faggot. Like, I don't have to be any of these.
You look like, or what you want to be, it makes you think that you can't be it. Where do I exist in this world? How do I get an idea of, okay, you know what? Maybe this is something I identify with and I can explore it and see if it's for me. They don't get to see themselves in media. And if they do, it's usually related to violence, or the trans representing character in the movie is a joke. Like, their existence is like, I'm here to amuse others, or there's some type of monster that everybody's supposed to be afraid of.
One has to realize, when it comes to our own story, us being in control of our own story, or us being in control of our own narratives, is important, because it's up to us to dictate how people perceive us. For too long, it was in the hands of our oppressors, and that shit has got to go. We have to be in control of our own narrative, because if we don't, then we get asked out by what other people think we are. And this is why it's important for us to continue the fight for social justice, not only in the streets, but in our homes, on our television screens, in our music. It has to be put everywhere, because it's important for us to understand and see the ways that our media influences ourselves, our relationships. It's important for us to see each other in ourselves, because that's where empathy starts. That's where understanding starts. If you're only seeing someone treated as a joke, you're going to think their real life experiences are a joke.